Good morning or afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining our micro webinar today. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to join. We'll get started at the 9 o'clock hour. 9 o'clock if you're Pacific. As you join the webinar, feel free to put a little chat in the Q&A section in your GoToMeeting controls. Say hi, let us know where you're signing in from today. We're over here in beautiful Monrovia, California, so near Pasadena. All right, we're at that hour, so we should probably get started. Okay, well, again, thank you everybody for joining. My name is Jamie Motherall. I'm the Functional Testing Specialist and Product Marketing Manager here at Parasoft, and I'm excited to welcome you to our micro or mini webinar on why web accessibility and testing for inclusivity matters. With me, I have my colleague, Renata. Renata, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Renata Santillian. I'm thrilled to be here with you all today. I'm the product strategist at Parasoft, and I've had the privilege of working at some incredible dev tool companies, primarily focused on QA. So I'm always excited to dig into some of the challenges affecting our industry today, like today's topic, right, Jamie?
Oh yeah, this topic is one that we're hearing more and more often from our customers, that they're getting requirements around web accessibility. And this is actually on a global level, so both across the United States as well as in Europe. So this is definitely something that I think our timing is good when it comes down to this discussion.
Yeah, let's jump in.
All right. We do have some quick housekeeping we've got to go through before we dive into our discussion. So first off, all of your microphones are muted. That is an automatic thing when you join GoToWebinar. Just ensure that they stay muted throughout the presentation. We just want to cut down on any background noise. Now, if you do have any questions throughout the discussion, feel free to go to the Q&A area, that little question box you see there in the GoToWebinar controls, and pop your questions into there. We do have some time allocated at the end of today's presentation to go over some questions. And then also, if you have any other concerns, maybe you're having some trouble with the GoToWebinar controls, or you have a question that might be off topic, you're looking for more information, go ahead and still put that into that Q&A area, and our colleagues will reach on out to assist, or we'll try to address it at the end of the webinar. All right, so we have a quick agenda for you. We're going to start with a poll, just a single question. Don't worry, we're not going to give you guys a hard time today. And then we'll go into a little discussion. So we'll talk about the importance of web accessibility. Then we'll talk about the business benefits of accessible software. So why would a company, beyond that they have these requirements to move in to accessible testing, why would they want to make sure their software is accessible? Then we'll talk about the challenges of traditional web accessibility testing, where there's roadblocks, what really kind of slows down velocity when it comes down to testing. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Parasoft approach. We've got a short demo, very high level plan for you today. Afterwards, we'll sum up some of the benefits again, and then we'll dive straight into our Q&A at the end. So without further ado, let's dive into the poll. Give me just a minute to launch this for us. All right, you should see that coming across. So again, it's very simple. One question for you. How likely is your organization to implement web accessibility testing? So is your organization looking to implement accessibility testing now, where you're actively looking for solutions? Maybe you're trying to do it manually. Are you looking for solutions in the next 6 months, where this is something that is really pressing, that there's a lot of discussions happening currently in your organization? Or is this something a little bit further down the line? You're starting to devil into this a little bit, but you're still kind of in early discussion phases. Or is this something where you're still trying to get leadership buy-in. Maybe you're still trying to convince the higher ups that at the end of the day, you need to start doing web accessibility testing early. So just interested in getting a little bit of feedback where everyone is in their journey right now. Oh, and we do have, by the way, someone saying hello from Michigan.
Hi, Michigan.
Hi, Michigan. All right, we'll give everybody just a few more minutes on this poll. All right, it looks like we've got a majority of people, so I'm going to close the poll here.
I'm excited to see the results.
All right, I think if I hit close, it should just show it. Did it?
No, I think you have share.
Okay, there we go, share. All right.
Okay. Interesting results here. There's a few people ready now, which is great to see, and soon within the next 6 months. I think a majority are ready to go. But yeah, still a few people out there working on gaining leadership buy-in. That's always a tough one. And in the next year. So some good results, some interesting to see that people are ready more today, right, Jamie? Like it's definitely top of mind. So I'm glad that we're having the discussion here.
Yeah, this matches a lot of what we're hearing from our customers.
Mhm.
So it doesn't have me surprised too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you everyone for participating.
yeah, thank you everybody. All right, let's dive back on into our screen share here and we'll dive into the discussion. Are you able to see my screen?
I'm still seeing the poll.
Okay, give me just a minute. There we go. All
Awesome.
right. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to first start by talking a little bit about the importance of web accessibility overall. I'll turn it on over to Renata.
Sure. Thank you, Jamie. So when we talk about web accessibility here, we're referring to the practice of designing and developing websites, tools, and technologies that can be used by people with a wide range of abilities, including those with visual, auditory, motor, and cognitive disabilities. It's about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their abilities, can access and use digital products effectively. As you can see from this infographic in the US, 1 in 4 of adults in the US have some type of disability. So when we talk about disabilities, it's important to recognize that they're not limited to a specific group of people and maybe a bias we may have about what they look like or what it might be that their disability doesn't allow them to do. Many of us will likely experience some form of a disability as we age, whether it's hearing loss, vision impairment, or reduced mobility. You see, I have glasses today. I have been having to change my prescription more and more as I steadily, gracefully descend to 40. But it can happen at any age. It isn't just one type of person that you may have in mind. So I encourage everyone to open up your mindset when we think about those disabilities. And as I mentioned, 80% of disabilities are what's called invisible. So meaning you wouldn't know by looking at someone if they're disabled. So these people, it's a broad range of users, and it could be your potential prospects, your leads, your audience, your segment. It could be anyone out there. And so accessibility promotes digital inclusion and ensures equal access and information and services are available for all users. It's not about, again, just catering to a specific group, but catering to creating a more equitable and inclusive digital world that works for everybody. We're building tools and products that affect everyone's ability to do important things, from online banking to looking to a new home. So it's vital that we're creating accessible applications. Of course, in many countries, there are now laws and regulations that require businesses and organizations to make their applications accessible. For example, in the US, we have the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it requires businesses and organizations that are open to the public make their accommodations accessible to people with disabilities. Example of that, open to the public businesses are hotels, banks, sports arenas, theaters, and more. These regulations also include making their websites and software applications accessible as well. And in the EU, they adhere to the European Accessibility Act, which requires that all member states provide accessible products, services, and more. And failure to comply with these new EAA accessibility requirements by 2025, when the law becomes enforceable, can result in significant fines. So something to keep top of mind.
And beyond just these fines that may get, the regulations attached to ensuring that your applications now are accessible, there are a lot of business benefits for accessible software as well. So when it comes down to talking to management about, yeah, starting a process to start testing for accessibility issues early, there's a lot that you can work into your conversation when it comes down to business benefits. So Renata, you want to break some down for us?
Yeah, let's explore some of these. So, we've talked about why it's important and why everyone should care, but it could also
Mhm.
benefit your business. So, investing in accessible software offers significant benefits like expanding your market reach. Over 60% of people with disabilities own computers, 58% of them own smartphones. Accessible products can tap into a potential market of 490 billion. So, making sure that your applications accessible means more people can access it, including a market you might have not even realized you were excluding. There's also the ability to improve your user experience and loyalty. Inclusive design benefits all users, including those with using assistive technologies, leading to higher user satisfaction and loyalty. It's always great to make sure that all of your customers are happy. Furthermore, it can provide a competitive advantage. Demonstrating your commitment to inclusivity and social responsibility resonates with a lot of users out there. A lot of people are
Mhm.
hoping to engage with companies with similar values and making sure that they know that you're also doing something to help the entire community. And of course, it reduces legal risk. Like we mentioned, you don't want to be open to any of those potential lawsuits, potential fines that come with not adhering to those regulations we talked about.
hmm Now, while there have been updates to these regulations, accessibility testing is really not something new. It's been around for a while. So, I know there's a traditional approach for accessibility testing, but there are some innate challenges when it comes down to that traditional approach. So, why don't we take a few minutes and we'll start breaking down kind of what those are, those challenges, and from there, we'll introduce a little bit about what Parasoft can do.
Yeah, when we talk about accessibility testing, what we're doing is working towards adhering to established accessibility guidelines, like Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, known as WCAG.
hmm
These are a set of international standards that provide guidance on how to make your content accessible. So that's what we're doing when we're talking about testing for web accessibility here. And like a lot of things, testing sometimes becomes a process that ends up at the end of the development cycle. And this, unfortunately, can create two costly changes that you have to make at the end when you're rushing to release and trying to make sure you're making these checks, right? So
hmm
it's so essential to shift left and address accessibility early in the software development cycle. By incorporating accessibility testing from the start, teams can catch and resolve issues more effectively, saving time and resources in the long run. Can also help, and using accessibility testing tools can help streamline this process, enabling teams to identify and access and address issues quickly and earlier in that life cycle, right?
hmm And that's an area I see actually a lot of teams struggling in, as they've getting these requirements that are now being enforced to ensure that their applications are accessible. QA team or a dev team who's not very familiar with WCAG can very much struggle in understanding exactly what they need to do in order to ensure that they're aligning to those guidelines. So
Yeah.
let's dive into the Parasoft approach here.
Yeah. Let's talk about how Parasoft is addressing some of these challenges, right? We have included within our SOA test tool a web accessibility scan feature. It's designed to seamlessly integrate into your existing testing workflows, making it
hmm
easier to incorporate web accessibility testing into your development process earlier. By simply chaining the tool to your existing browser playback test, you can effectively check your web application's accessibility without disrupting your current testing process at all. So we also offer a lot of cool customization options with this feature as well. So I'd be excited to show you some of this.
All right, I think that's our next step. We'll go into our demonstration of SOATest Web Accessibility Scan Tool. As Renata is getting set up here, we're going to actually turn off our cameras so we can go onto full screen mode. And I did want to just give you guys a quick overview of the tool that she's going to be showing us today. So she's going to be showing us Parasoft SOA test. And the way I like to think about SOA test is it's almost like your Swiss Army knife when it comes down to automated functional testing. SOA test is all about providing you with an AI-powered codeless solution to create web UI tests, API tests, microservices, and end-to-end tests. And to save time today, what Renata is going to show you is how she can take an existing SOA test web UI test that was created using SOA test recorder capabilities, and she's going to repurpose it into an accessibility test. And this reusability that she's going to show you guys today, this is actually something that we can do with a lot of things when it comes down to SOA tests. So if you wanted to do load and performance testing, API security testing, you can take any of the test cases that SOA test creates and you can repurpose them for that type of non-functional test automation. So at this point, I'll turn it on over to Renata again, and she's going to dive into how she's going to transform this into an accessibility test and run it. And we'll dive into a little bit of what the report provides back.
Thanks for the tee up, Jamie. As she mentioned, I'm here in SOA test right now. I already have a test that I've created over here, and I've recorded that test already, and I've used our Parabank. It's a demo app we've created here at Parasoft that mimics just an online sort of banking flow and system. So the test is already here, as you can see, and I'm going to just go ahead and add the web accessibility scan tool for this test. Well, actually, first, let's make sure it's running, right? Let's see how that looks like for everyone. I have it just going to the website, the home page, and yeah, looks like it is working well. Just open up the report. Just take 1 second here. Great. Okay, looking good, as expected, right? So really easy for us to just go ahead and add our web accessibility scan tool. Just go ahead and select it, finish. Okay, and it's been added. Super simple. As you can see, I'm not having to write any code or anything like that. Even when I recorded my test, no code needed there. It's very simple and easy to use. And one of the key features of the web accessibility scan tool is its ability to check browser contents against the WCAG accessibility guidelines that we talked about. By automatically checking your application against these guidelines, the tool helps identify accessibility issues that need to be addressed. And in addition to automated scanning abilities, the web accessibility scan tool offers customization options to refine the testing scope and accuracy. As you can see here, there's some options here. You can limit the scope of your scan to specific elements using element properties like XPath or scripts. This also allows you to focus on particular areas of your application that may require more attention from an accessibility perspective. You can also exclude specific elements and rules from the scan, helping to improve the accuracy of your results. And this is particularly useful when you have certain elements or components that may not be relevant to the accessibility assessment or that you've already validated through other means, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and run this again. And looks like we found 28 issues. So let's pop open the report. Test failed. As we can see, we did have a few web accessibility issues it looks like we got to work on. So if we scroll down, now we have this amazing new section of our report, accessibility issues. Looks like we have 3 critical issues and 25 serious and no moderate or minor ones. So not a bad result. If you're new to testing accessibility issues, I don't want you to be discouraged if you see some high numbers here. Do not worry. Definitely work on critical and then just slowly work your way through all the way down to minor. But so far, not too bad. And here you can see we have made it super easy to use and read the report. If you're unfamiliar with any of these issues, we do provide some information, but we also provide helpful links back to the WCAG website to help you understand if you're not sure exactly what the issue is that it's found on your website. So all of that nice and easy, all available from the results, and you can go ahead and send your report to anyone in your team to help you go ahead and fix some of these issues. So Totally easy, Jamie. Did you see me write one line of code? Absolutely not. And it took seconds.
Mhm. One thing I really love about this report too is, we've embedded so many things in here as far as, suggested fixes, the ability to go to WCAG and actually learn more about the rules. So when you think about your team members, your developers, your QA team who would be using this, over time they're actually being educated as they use this tool and they become more familiar with what exactly WCAG is, how they can ensure early on that their application is going to align to these guidelines, and it just overall improve their overall practices, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we link to a bunch of resources here, including DQ, and it gives you a lot of information, including why it's important and who it affects. You can see disabilities affected. So we're trying to make sure that everyone understands fully what's found through the report.
Mhm. All right. So shall we go on back to the slides?
Yeah, let me go ahead and stop sharing.
Okay. And give me just a minute and I'll go on back here.
Perfect.
All
Um,
right. Can you confirm that you're seeing it?
I'm seeing it. We're good.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Renata. Let me get my camera back on too. There we go.
No
All right.
problem.
So I think we just want to take a few minutes, just sum up the benefits. Again, if anyone has any questions at this point, it's a good time to start putting them into the Q&A section. But go ahead, Renata, sum up the benefits for us.
Yeah, so what we talked about, some of the importance of web accessibility, you're going to improve digital inclusion, you're enhancing the user experience and loyalty by making sure it's accessible to everyone. You're getting that competitive edge by letting people know that you care about these things and that you're going to resonate with an audience that also has similar values. And of course, you're reducing your legal risk, making sure you're adhering to those regulations and guidelines if you need to. And finally, we talked about and showcased Parasoft SOA test and the new web accessibility scanning tool. Make sure you're shifting left in accessibility testing and avoiding those costly rework and delays.
Hmm. Exactly. Shift left as much as you can.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right. And then right before we get to the Q&A, Renata has one other little announcement for us.
Yeah, if we noticed some people mentioned that they're still working on getting leadership buy-in. So in case you're in those positions, or you're also looking to learn anything else about the current sort of Selenium testing world, I encourage you all to go to Star West this year, where shamelessly plug, I will be presenting on web accessibility, the art of winning leadership support for web accessibility. You'll learn a little bit about how I've been able to bring web accessibility into my orgs and how I worked through some of those challenges you might encounter. If you're interested, there's a promo code on the top right here for $200 off your ticket. Star West is at the end of September in Anaheim, California at the Disneyland Hotel. So I hope to see y'all there.
You got to come by, stop by our booth if you're there, say hello to us. We absolutely love recognizing faces at the conferences.
Mhm.
All right. So we're getting to our Q&A part. Before we dive into the Q&A, I do see that we have some questions. Oh, let me go back here. I did want to point out, today's presentation, what you saw of SOA Test and the accessibility scanning tool, that was just a quick high-level overview. If you would like to see more in depth of what Parasoft SOA Test can do, I highly recommend reaching on out to us to request a demo. You can use the UR code there, or the QR code or the URL. And our team will just reach on out to you. We'll have a quick discussion about what your testing requirements entail, and then we'll customize the demo so you can really see something that's mapped to your specific needs. If you did also want to learn a little bit more about accessibility testing with Parasoft, I recommend going to our Web UI solutions page, where it talks about how we approach Web UI testing and also how we shift left web accessibility testing. We also have a couple blogs on the website. Go ahead and review those too. If anyone would like those, we can reach on out and make sure that you guys are provided with those also, so you can read a little bit more about what Parasoft can do there. So we do have some questions. Let's start going through them. So does Parasoft SOA test, UI test, and accessibility test run on different browsers? What browsers does it support? Do you want me to take this one, Renata?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge. So we support most of those leading ones out there today. Then let's see. So this one is saying they understand that we're using a existing script for the web UI test that we transformed. Do they need to write scripts for validations when they're creating that test? No, you don't. Again, Parasoft provides you with a codeless way to create these test cases. So no scripting necessary.
Yeah,
Um,
and you can even add more, right? We can add penetration tests, OWASP tests,
mhm.
a whole slew of tests that you can add, just like you saw me add the web accessibility tool. It's just that easy to go ahead and continue to add more and more to your tests.
Okay. And what this is a good one. What versions of accessibility standards does Parasoft support? So do you want to go into which standards?
Oh, there's like a slew of them. Do you have the newest one right off the bat, Jamie? It's
Yeah,
2000.
so we just released our 2024.1 version of SOA test, and that has actually updated our support to be 2.2 for WCAG. So that's the latest that came out from what I understand.
Mhm.
So we're up there supporting it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then, so I know we mentioned this briefly, but this question is, can we integrate into CI/CD pipelines and run accessibility tests as a part of CI/CD?
Yes,
Um,
definitely, definitely. We integrate
yes.
with a bunch of different ones, a lot of very common ones as well.
Hmm.
Jenkins,
So
all the big
we
ones.
we integrate via CLI to a lot of the major pipelines, as well as we offer plugins. So, for instance, we have a Jenkins plugin. We integrate really well and work with a lot of groups using Azure DevOps, GitLab, GitHub. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yeah,
Because it is CLI, it makes it very flexible as far as integrating into your CI/CD pipeline. So, yeah, very easy.
yeah. And if there's any integration missing, let us know. We're happy to see what everyone's using and make sure we're keeping up to date with whatever is the most popular ones out there.
Hmm. All right. I think that we have exhausted our questions for the day. So
Great
thank you,
questions,
everybody.
everyone.
Yeah, it's great questions. And thank you, everybody, for your engagement, your involvement throughout. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach on out to us. We're always happy to talk testing. And I hope we will see some of you joining us at the Star West conference coming up in
Star
fall.
West, September. It talks Thursday at 4 p.m.
Perfect. And again, make sure that you take advantage of that code. We'll make sure that we include it in our follow-up email where you guys will get a recording of this. Feel free to share that with management, especially if you're in that position where you're trying to get management to buy into shifting left web accessibility testing.
Yeah,
Um,
if you're going, let us know. We'd love to put some goodies aside for you. So please, we're excited to meet all of our community in person.
Renata likes spoiling our customers that come to the booth, so please come and visit us. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much. Any last words from you, Renata?
Now, thanks again, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you again soon.
Have a good one. Bye bye.